say yete NPP for Amreshe and I say NPP or more vice candidate Mohamedini Jinemu Ewo 2024 abato NAPO and I say Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe yete nka achena and now I granted some interview via what drop a massive explosions and massive exposes about any career and how NPP is collapsing and everything about NPP or the insane atudwa yɛpɛpɛsɛ yɛbɛkɔ na yakɔ akuti in someone koso energy ba na before that yɛbɛkɔ akuti this interview about and I say from NAPO no Mr. Mo subscribe like it to dwumadie no share na ma afoforo enso ensan can be kindly click on the notification bell no so send a be the news be to platform no so a onso wo no the echo energy ba yɛnkɔ kuti someone NAPO ade the tudwa.
That people say that this is a WestTP, but you don't believe that. No, I don't. Factually, it is. It's not. I mean, it's just a matter of records. It's not. More than 1 million votes. Nobody had lost that like that before. It's not. You have a micro minority in parliament that you last year was part of until now. You have a super majority that you've never seen in the Fourth Republic. All those are factual matters that you can dispute.
You see. You may claim it to be a fact, so you put it around the sunlight, and let's shine the evidence. Let's look at the evidence. In 1992, you had only 30% of the popular vote. In 1996, we had only 38% of the popular vote.
92, you wrote the stolen verdict.
98, 96, we had only 38%. So 2024, if we've had 41%, it is not bad. Actually, the best university in Ghana that I attended, the pass mark is 40. So you might say in quantum terms, in parliamentary terms, even as you tried to say, in 1992 we had 0 parliamentarians.
Yeah, because you took a deliberate decision.
We had 0 parliamentarians.
True, but the decisions and the context was different.
We had 0 parliamentarians.
That's factual. That's fact. But the reason
you didn't talk about reason when you started.
But it's important. Context is everything. The context was different.
I want to agree with you today, but you said the fact, and I'm saying when we shine light on your supposed facts, probably it is not.
No, but the context
as you reeled them, you said that you've lost by 1.7 million. You've done that. You've done that. I said, if I take it one by one, it's probably not our worst.
On the parliamentary debate, I know you're the first one to draw it up. In that election, you wrote a stolen verdict. This one, you contested full. You put all your weight. You were all in.
My brother,
and you still turned out with micro minority.
In 1990, it's not the only stolen verdict, a document we've written post an election we've lost. It's not. It was the first time, but it's not the only document. In 2012, we went even to court. It was more than a stolen verdict. We gathered evidence and went to court. So I'm just saying that everything you've said this morning to me, when you put the sunlight on it, it's probably not our worst time.
So what was your worst time?
1992. Are you telling me if we had not boycotted, we wouldn't have had some seats there?
But you boycotted. That was
that's what I'm saying. That so because of the decision, when you make a conscious effort and make a decision, you get bound by the results of your decision.
That is why.
So when we decided
it's
we'll
not
go,
comparable to 2024.
When you decided you didn't go, the result was that you have 0 representation in parliament. You can't say that we would have won, but the election that we participated, we got 30%. The fact that we wrote a stolen verdict didn't dispute the fact that Rawlings was sworn in as the president in 7 January. The fact that we went to court in 2012, President Mahama was sworn in 7 January. Even though my presidential candidate came out of the court and said, we disagree with the court's decision, but as Democrats, we abide by it. So that's what I'm saying. Let me take your time. In 1996, we had less than 1/3 the members of parliament. We had less than 1/3. We had 61. NDC, to all intents and purposes, had a supermajority. So if in 2024 we have less than 1/3, is it the first time? Probably not. So I'm just saying that it's true globally when you look at the headlines.
On the supermajority,
like you live with the headlines. So.
On the supermajority bit, which is 2/3 under the Fourth Republican Constitution, it's really not happened before. Outright 2/3 majority.
Would you want me to go through the evidence?
Yes.
In 1992, there was a supermajority of NDC.
Yeah, but you see, the 1992 is always an outlier.
It's not an outlier.
In fact, in our analysis, you would treat that as an outlier.
I wouldn't treat it as an outlier.
Because you have the opposition party staging a boycott.
We still participated in the developmental process, the economic engagements. We did everything.
But it was an outlier.
We didn't go to parliament.
That's true. That's what makes it an outlier.
And NDC went ahead with that supermajority to amend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
But that's different from 20.
That's what I'm saying, that if a supermajority means the ability to amend even the Constitution with its entrenched clauses, it has happened before. It has happened before.
Context.
I'm going to give you a context.
Context.
In 1992, the NDC itself was in government, not on its own steam, but was in government in an alliance with an opposition party. Or that is also not evidential. The vice president in 1996 or in 1992 was called Akuffo.
Yes, he was.
He was not a member of NDC, was he? So just remind your people, he was not a member of the NDC. He belonged to a different political party from the NDC. Flight Lieutenant General John Rawlings himself was not a member. He was co-opted as the presidential candidate of NDC. So, what are you saying? So, what I'm trying to say is that in 1996, the certain vice president, because of who NDC had gone to even amend the Constitution and change the role of the vice president, was the running mate of President Akuffo at that time. He was not a member of the NPP. The NPP was such a micro minority at that time that even when they were going for the election, they decided to go with a candidate who was not even their party. It tells you how a micro minority. So when people now say micro minority, it's not the first time it's happened.
So the debate around whether it's the first time or not, I mean, it's a matter of record. But I'm interested.
Matter of record.
Yes.
You couldn't even take your own party's candidate because you felt that you needed a big tent to bring other people in. And so in 1996 general election, we had the Great Alliance, and we had taken who? Not somebody from NPP. The NDC in their so-called supermajority of 1992 and the boycott of the NPP did not feel themselves satisfied that they alone could. So they had partnered with another political party.
Let's come to 2024.
So let us agree now that the historical record does not bear the statements you made.
No, I mean, I don't want to go into a historical debate because as I've said, the 1992 is always an outlier. 2024 was unique in its own way with all the dynamics.
My brother, if I cut out 1992,
yes.
I stay with 1996.
Yes.
I've just showed you post-1996 elections. NPP, we didn't write the stolen verdict, right?
Yes.
We got 38%. Is it 38 or 39%? Of the popular vote.
Yeah.
And we got less than 1/3 the members of parliament.
Yeah.
Had the independents and the other political parties that got seats in parliament decided to join the certain government, they would still have had a supermajority. So even now, we have independents joining NDC, even though they are already a supermajority. So I'm just saying that because of context, now everything is amplified more than we want to hear. So it might look as if it's not happened before. But it has happened before.
The 2024 elections, though, you were the running mate. You've had 10 months to reflect, and we started by you telling me about the relaxing period you've had to reflect. I wonder when you reflect now on what happened during that election. What is for you in the last 10 months as you've done the reflection? What stands out for you as we could have done this better? or done this differently? What would you say has been the most abiding feeling that comes to mind when you reflect on 2024?
One thing I've come conclusive in the last 10 months is that there was a broken trust.
Citizens to party?
Citizens to government.
To government.
The trust that was broken hurt so much so that we saw the results.
What broke it?
We didn't listen enough. We assumed a lot of things we shouldn't have assumed. Probably our purpose was a bit challenged for us. We have descended, we had gone through the worst global economic climate, medically and economically, or health-wise. Governments around the whole world have been toppled and changed, apart from probably dictatorial governments, autocratic governments. The economic milieu had changed dramatically. A container from China that cost 1,200, logistic-wise had risen to 14,000. People's lifetime savings had been wiped out. People had died in their droves that had never been seen before, without a military crisis or world war. So a lot of things had happened. And I say that if you take the context in Ghana, we did so well under COVID that it became a commendation of even advanced countries, how we tackled that. But like I say, you can win a battle and lose the war. So post-COVID, we saw the results very, very early in the 2020 elections, where we came from a majority of over 1 million people to less than half. And because of the decisions that we had to take or we took, we bore the consequences of those decisions. Revenue evaporated, especially in a country where your revenue mainly comes from your pot duties, levies and charges. Expenditure went through the roof because unlike other countries, even in Africa, in America and developing world, teachers, nurses were paid for. Nurses went to work, but even teachers who stayed at home for 5-6 months were paid. Civil service offices which closed were still paid. The expenditure ballooned, revenue vanished, evaporated. The economic conditions were harsh, were terribly harsh. Terribly harsh. And a developing country like ours, remember that in 2017 when we came into government, we were undergoing a physical straitjacket of an IMF formula. Just when we escaped and we were growing at 8%, 9%, with so much hope, it was shattered with this health pandemic. So all in all, maybe we didn't listen enough to what the Ghanaian really wanted. Maybe our leadership that was spectacular and stellar at the COVID times was not good enough for Ghanaians at post-COVID. And it's happened. It's not the first time it's happened in this world. Wartime generals, field marshals, victorious Winston Churchill of the Second World War, lost dramatically after that in an election. The people you lead in time of war are not those same people you need in time of peace. Expectations differ. And if you're a leader, if you're a government, and you don't listen, and you don't read the times, the job that we do is based upon public perception. You can lose. You can lose not because of dramatic faults that you've done, but just because people are unhappy.
What got in the way of listening?
Events, I would say. Let me say events. Because I'll give you a classic example. What would take 88 of our MPs, the first time in the history of this country, to openly, publicly do a coup d'etat against his own government?
Against the finance minister.
And the history was that because the economy was bad. I laugh at it today, and I said, for those who are blaming Dr. Bawumia for the economic mess, and especially people like yourselves who sit in front of, behind megaphones, who have a voice, say, oh, he promised this, he was giving us lectures, they say, the fundamentals are bad. But the 88, recall, if it's not true, tell me. We're saying Ofuriatta must go because he was the leader of the economy. True or false?
True.
They didn't say Bawumia must go, did they?
Yeah. It was a campaign against one man.
It was a campaign against one man.
And by the way, it reflected the general mood of the population at the time.
That is what I'm trying to catch you. We didn't even listen at that time. We didn't listen enough. Such that our own, under the colors of NPP sitting in parliament, had to break ranks. Wasn't that a coup d'etat? It was a coup d'etat against the government.
The president should have listened and let Ofuriatta go.
Maybe. Because the consequences was that after that, we never found our rhythm.
Would you say that was a turning point?
I can't say that, my hand on my heart. I wouldn't say that. But that was the culmination of a broken system, of a broken trust.
You said
when a shepherd turns ahead,
yeah,
and the sheep are gone, what does he do? He finds out where the lost sheep are. If you don't find where the lost sheep are, you come back home, and your father will not talk about the sheep you brought back. He will talk about the sheep you lost. If the 88 had a case, and they felt they were not listened to, Ghanaians will punish us because of that.
You were punished because of that?
And more. I've just talked about the wartime hero, the pandemic hero, Nana Addo Akuffo, became the peacetime rebuilding scapegoat.
You were close to the president. He trusted you with a lot. Why do you think he didn't listen in the specific case of what you call the coup d'etat?
You see,
was it so difficult for him?
It's always easy when you have Vision 2020, hindsight. You can then look back and say, oh, the president should have done A. But there's no evidence that even if he had listened to removing his finance minister, the horses had already bolted.
But that would have mitigated. Offer mitigation.
That is a speculation. That is a speculation. No evidence to back. You've been worrying me with evidence. No evidence to back what you are saying.
But one thing we know for sure, for certain, is that he did not listen, and the outcome is what we're living with now. The NPP.
I don't believe that he did not listen.
I mean, he did not let his finance minister go.
You see.
The outcome.
You see.
Is the 2024 elections.
Let me say. I'll remind you. If your son comes from school to you and said, Daddy, I lost my lunch, I haven't eaten, and you're home with him alone, and you don't know how to prepare food like I don't know how to prepare food. If I have the resources, I'll say, let me take you out for lunch. If I don't have the resources in my pocket, I'll say, Mommy will come home very soon to prepare you food. At that material time, the child is hungry. When Mommy comes home and prepares food, the child will not credit you, the dad, telling him that, oh, you've done well, waiting for your mom to. In that child's mind, when I was hungry, my dad could not give me food. Even though mom has come and prepared you food. If you look at post-2024, during the IMF and the discussions and rolling out the IMF program and everything, probably we didn't do badly. When you look at the IMF benchmarks and the reviews, we always exceeded the review expectations. We always did. The growth rates and everything, we exceeded the revenues, because we realized that a phrase that the president said during the COVID times, we know how to revive economies, but we don't know how to bring dead bodies back to life. And we saw it in the first 2 years of the IMF engagement under our watch. But I'm saying, probably the horses had bolted already. The horses have bolted already.
Let me ask
Come
you.
forward. I would say that in the last year, you don't see a single policy.
Joe, mema wo akwa abasron ko so bio subscribe na like share dwumadi na ma for friends when sanka bi ofamie nu ene ye de dwumadi no ebro yanko gotie.
This government touted in opposition before they came to power, which they have rolled out they came to power. But look at the economic terms.
Yeah, well,
because
that is not exactly accurate.
we'll come to that.
That's not accurate.
We'll come to that and I'll prove to you that it's accurate. Because this government has not even had the chance to do a budget on its own that is not constrained by an IMF relationship.
Well, that is not the fact. We'll come to that because that's a whole segment on its own.
Because you realize that
that is if I go there now, I need to ask you something on this trend of the NPP so that we can wrap up on this point. So in the 10 months, obviously, you've been doing soul search in the party. I mean, has the NPP, would you say, reconnected with this grassroots, with the average Ghanaian who punished you so severely in the 2024 elections? Have you seen signs that gives you confidence that the party is beginning to reconnect?
The word is restore. We have to, like I told you, broken trusts, lots of assumptions, hurt badly. The only thing you can do is to find a way of restoring. You restore trust through humility. You restore trust through listening. You restore trust through coming up with alternative, better propositions. You restore trust through demonstrating that, yes, you've learned the lesson of a broken leg and the reason for the broken leg, and that once God has helped you to heal, you will never do those same things again. Again, and I'm saying that we assumed that our base would deliver. Ashanti, Bunafu, Eastern region. Our base didn't deliver. Because the trust had been broken.
Has the party begun to reconnect, to fix that? Have you seen the evidence of that in the last 10 months?
Yes.
You have?
Yes, and it's ongoing.
In what way specifically?
It's ongoing.
In what way specifically?
After, we didn't write a stolen verdict, but we set up a Professor Michael Quay's committee to go around and listen to the party and the reasons for which it was this month. Look, you've demonstrated that you believe in facts. Between 2020 and 2024, percentage-wise, President Mahama voters lost vote in Volta region and Greater Accra over 2020 results.
Particularly in the Volta region.
That shocks you, right?
He himself admits it.
Yes.
He actually blamed the NPP for, feeding the Voltarians with...
Everybody will blame somebody for something.
With wrong facts,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That when you look at the number of voters that came on the roll post-2020, really, President Mahama didn't gain even 5 percentage points over the 2020 results. Right? But the supermajority came back because in droves, in dramatic terms, people who had even voted for NPP stayed away from polls. They didn't stream to the benefit of President Mahama. They just stayed and folded their arms. And it's because that it was a trust that was broken. A trust that the people didn't feel that the alternative could master it, could bring us that, restore us to where our expectations were. So even though you've broken trust with us, I don't feel confident enough to go and put my hope in the party that is coming. Even I know that the party that is coming. That's why I'm saying that we are in the process. We've listened. We've made the necessary changes even to our party constitution that we heard the people talk about.
Should that report have been made public as part of the bearing your soul?
Not necessarily. The timing is so important. Today you walked into a conversation I was having with one of my main persons, and I was saying that in politics, 3 words matter: opportunity, timing, and competence. You've gone and you've listened to your people. You should demonstrate to your people that what they told you, you are putting it in effect. Your lifestyle should change to a lifestyle that people can link you up with.
What about transparency in what you actually found? What was the diagnosis? They don't know.
That's what I'm coming. So this diagnosis, if it had not been done, we wouldn't have gone to make constitutional changes where it was necessary.
But to get them to come along with you, you must show them what a diagnosis is.
That's what I'm saying. That
there's some who say, publish it. Let's see.
That is not the majority, but we will come to that.
Do you agree with those?
The timing of publishing has to be looked at in context.
Okay.
The timing of publishing.
When was the right
This is an
time?
internal document. This is an internal document. I don't know if you are in an organization and you go and do your 5-year development plan, you necessarily publish in that Joy FM, your program. This is our 5-year development plan.
Except that we are private.
Lady Sarah, it doesn't matter.
You are a public organization.
It doesn't really
Political
matter.
parties are.
It doesn't really matter.
You talk about timing. When do you think the timing will be right?
Matters. In 2016, the contributory report to date has it been published?
Well, it was leaked. I remember getting a copy.
Has it been published?
I mean, the NPP is different from the NDC, by the way.
No.
It hasn't been. It hasn't been, but NPP...
In governance, you don't say...
The NPP is different.
In governance, you don't want to ever... I don't want to believe you are really saying that the standard that we hold NPP to, when it gets to NDC, we lower it to the grass.
Except that the NPP is different. The orientation is different.
That NDC is such that you cannot hold them to any standard. So you allow them to drag out everybody.
The NDC certainly not your standard, is it?
No. Is that what you're saying?
No.
I want to know what you are trying to
allege. Is the NDC your standard?
I just gave you an example that the 2016 contributory report.
Is the NDC your standard?
No. I'm saying the 2016 contributory report, we have not seen it published because the NDC maintained that it was an internal document.
But the NDC isn't your standard, is it?
Correct. I'm telling you that the timing matters. Okay. When we would receive, in 2020 we wrote a report.
Yeah.
You know that?
You did.
In 2020 we wrote a report. After every major election, NPP has written a report.
When would the timing be right, would you say?
I think we are going through the process. The people are voting and following the process. One of the things people said was that we have excluded a lot of people who have voted from the party. We should find a way of bringing them. We made the changes. We made it applicable immediately. So in this current flag bearership election, we would have nearly 80,000 more people who are going to participate. We have brought in all former executives, all former from electoral area, polling, constituency, regional, national, former MMDCs who have served since 1992 our party. It's a listening process. It's a listening process. But certainly, some of the things people said, which we think that it will not augur well when we put it out, we will not necessarily put it out now. And there's time for everything. Maybe you'll get another leaked report.
I'm so curious, when would you think the right time will be, very briefly? Because you talk about timing, would there ever be a right time to publish it?
Yeah, the time we publish it, it will determine that it is the right time.
Okay.
Because we have to look at everything. It's the National Council of the party that can authorize that it comes out. And if you know, after the flag bearership race, we're going to start from maybe constituency, regional elections, and we'll swear in a new National Council and things like that. And at that time, they'll say that if this is what you've done. We've reviewed the microcurry report. We've seen that you have acted to it through detect. Let's release it to the public.
Okay.
It might come up like
the party...
Let's publish it with redacted parts. Yeah. It can come out.
The party moved to the idea of this amnesty as part of the healing process, bringing people back, those who have been suspended and done wrong, etc. How far-reaching should that be? Is it a position you support?
I've asked that has the party said so? Because when the reports came out, I was shocked because I don't know at which council meeting that it was. I was told that it has not been a council decision to grant a general amnesty. But for those who the party suspended for one reason or the other, The party is giving them the chance to remove that. They come. For those who left the party of their own volition, you have to come back at your own volition.
Aha, any other Jumadian in our EPC at the amount subscribe, like it to Jumadian share. Nema for friends when some can be kindly click on the notification bell on so send a the news to platform so also well no dear aircall and the POG Media. Yanama young court near fans and for Frona and Bremo Makramo.